It's the end of 2025, the end of Season 2 in this Lewis Hamilton career mode, and we are going to break away from reality and break our contract with Ferrari for 2026, ending it a year early to become a free agent for the upcoming season. Guys, if you haven't seen the previous episode, go check it out. Spoiler warning ahead on top of what you've just seen. The previous race was Abu Dhabi, the finale, so go watch it. Link in the top right. And let's talk about the fallout and everything that happened from that previous video. So, welcome to the prologue for Season 3, guys. We're going to talk about Abu Dhabi first, a race where we started from the back, fought through the field, and finished second on track behind Max Verstappen. Our driver recognition took a pretty big hit as we broke contract. We lost 3%, thus Leclerc gained 3% and brought the recognition a bit more balanced. We hit all of our specialist goals and we ended on a pretty good high. We of course had a great season, winning both championships, and generally it all went really well. Now, we'll talk about that in just a little bit. The pressing matter here is our contract status. Now, I broached the question to you guys, topic, and I said, what do you want to see for Season 3 in 2026? I had an idea in mind, but I want to hear your guys' thoughts. And you mostly kind of followed my vibe and, knew where I was going with this. And we'll get into the negotiations in just a bit. Before we depart Ferrari, I want to be professional. So we are going to spend whatever R&D points we have left on protecting something for the upcoming regulation change for the chassis and the durability. And with that, we now enter contract negotiations. Now, fittingly, only 2 teams are available, and one of them is McLaren Mercedes. So, it was my intention and my prophecy of what I hoped to come true has come true. McLaren have come forward, thus giving us the opportunity to essentially end Lewis's Formula 1 career in 2026, signing a 1-year contract with Mercedes, going back home to where it all started in an attempt to also win World Drivers' Championship number 10 and become the greatest undisputed of all time. You can see our driver rating 99 maxed out. We're going to have that as our target rating. We're going to sign a 1-year deal, and Lando Norris will be our teammate on a 54-46 split. So pretty heavy favourable contract from McLaren in our favour. Thus Oscar Piastri drops out. So where will he end up? We'll find out very, very soon. In the meantime, we sign out in red, closing out the season, moving ahead on the timeline, and we have finished our chapter in red. A year shorter than what it was meant to be, but we achieved all of our goals, which were of course both the Drivers' and the Constructors' Championship, so there was nothing more to do. You can see we won 6 out of the 16 races, so a pretty good performance. We also got the most amount of fastest laps throughout the season. 1 DNF in Belgium, Verstappen also 1 DNF in Netherlands, so a pretty fair, balance at the end. Verstappen winning 3 races, so in the end, Lewis the worthy winner. Now, with that out of the way, we head into the post-season fallout, so confirmation of that 51-49 split versus Leclerc on the driver recognition, but of course that is basically irrelevant now heading into the new season. So we move into our kind of end of season stats, and you can see confirmation of those 6 race wins, 2 pole positions, maximum points, championship P1, and then also you can see our rating improved by 5 points. So we essentially maxed out Hamilton's driver rank. Confirmation of the Constructors' title between us, and of course Lewis's 9th World Drivers' Championship. So with everything done out of the way, we can now move into changes for the new season. Now, we had high inflation as our R&D scenario chip applied for Season 2, making upgrades very expensive. Now, I was tempted to keep it the same, but there's a few other options. We've also unlocked the bottom 3 options, so we now have a bit more variety. We've got chip shortage, only 1 upgrade per month, minor upgrades only, so you're just locked to that, simple as. Balancing out the field where the top team on the chart loses an upgrade at random per race weekend, and endless resources, which as the name says, basically unlimited R&D points to every driver's account. So I had a good think, and this was actually quite tricky. There's some actually pretty decent options, quite fun options, but I'm going to go for balancing out the field because it basically means the team on top doesn't have that advantage too long, and no one can kind of get too far ahead. It also means, you know, it's a bit like endurance racing. Even the current F1 rules, the car ahead gets the least amount of wind tunnel time, testing time, and makes it harder to stay on top. So I want to hear what you guys think. In the meantime, here is the calendar for the upcoming season. So 16 rounds for this final season, but we have made a few changes compared to last year. So Jeddah returns to the calendar. We also return stateside as we go to Las Vegas for the season finale. Thus, Abu Dhabi drops out as the final round. We also return to Baku, a bit of a wild card with, you know, 3 rounds to go. That could definitely spice up the championship. And then Austria drops out as a sprint round. So a few changes. I want to hear what you guys think of the calendar. Not a huge overhaul, but definitely a few left field shouts and a few different variables. So I want to hear what you guys have to say in the comments down below. Back at the office, and there's one big change. Sir Lewis Hamilton is draped in orange. Not in silver, not in white, not in red, in orange. And we'll talk about that in just a little bit. For now though, enjoy the view. Lewis reformed back up with Monster Energy as well as a partnership, and you can see we've got a lot to get through in terms of the calendar. Now the big thing here is the driver transfers, and we have some bombshells, and I mean absolute bombshells. We start off of course with the obvious. We move to McLaren replacing Piastri, which means Piastri has to go somewhere. Piastri, out of all the teams, based off especially real life history, has returned to Alpine. So that prophecy, that tweet from Alpine has finally come true. That has meant that Pierre Gasly has lost his seat. So Pierre has gone to Ferrari replacing us, so the triangle is complete. However, there's one more wild card. Ollie Behrman, seeing that, you know, Pierre has taken his future seat at Ferrari, has moved to Williams replacing Logan Sargent. So we now have that kind of real life reality intertwining with the in-game scenario. Of course, we've got Sonoda also at Haas from last year as well, and Teo Pourchaire at VCarb. So things are slowly looking pretty tasty, and I love these transfers for the new season. But that is not all. We now have our new season grid reveal showing off all the new cars, the suits, the liveries. It's going to be fun. I promise you guys there'll be some big changes for this year. This is 2026, a big rule change during the off-season, of course, affecting the chassis and the durability, and we've got some big names arriving. So guys, let's get into it, and let me show you and run you through the new grid. Well, it's huge. I wonder how many things you might have spotted in that little clip. We'll break it all down now in the team analysis, but starting off with our team, McLaren. Hamilton returns to Woking for the first time dressed in orange. Now, the McLaren is the only car, the only team that has not had a single change to its presentation. Now, the reason for that is because I want to take a leaf out of the real life book with McLaren. I'd love to basically use some special liveries at select events rather than changing the livery and the presentation entirely, because I love how the McLaren looks. Also, seeing Lewis in orange is quite cool. We've seen Lewis in white and red before with Vodafone. I thought, let's keep things plain Jane for now. The big one, as you may see, is the helmet, which we'll get into in just a little bit. But Lewis, of course, runs the yellow, but this is Norris's team right now, and he runs yellow. So we had to switch it back to the purple. Now, we'll talk about that in just a little bit. Elsewhere, we have Red Bull Racing. Now, of course, a big overhaul for them in real life in 26, of course, with their engine supplier becoming Ford. That also applies to VCarb, which we'll see in just a bit. Max Verstappen, of course, the driver. The livery features a nice vibrant blue as a primary colour with a kind of black detail secondary, and of course the Red Bull trademarks with the yellow and the red spread around the car. We then go to What's Up Mercedes Racing, and this also a big change for 26. Petronas still with the team in a more secondary role, CrowdStrike and all the sponsors, but What's Up now their big title sponsor. They switch to the green, which has been vacated by Stake F1 team. Of course, they've been replaced by somebody else, which we'll talk about in just a little bit. For Red Bull, it's Verstappen and Perez. For Mercedes, it's Russell and Sainz. We now go to Ferrari, and the livery is mostly unchanged except for that one thing which I think most of us don't like, and that is the HP sticking out like a sore thumb with the blue. So the car now has those kind of black highlights on the front and rear wing, back again with the HP in white, balancing out the whole livery, of course, with Charles Leclerc as the primary and the new man Pierre Gasly as his teammate. Next up, we go to Aston Martin, and we have an absolute beauty of a livery here. And of course, Aston Martin, like in real life, have signed with Honda as their engine supplier for 26. Fernando Alonso, Lance Stroll, back again with the new livery, looking absolutely awesome. Then we go to Alpine, Esteban Ocon, of course, alongside now Oscar Piastri, forming what may have been their lineup a couple of years ago in real life, but this time primarily pink as their main livery colour, switching out the blue to add a bit more vibrance to the grid. We then go to Williams, a huge overhaul for them. They are now Williams powered by Renault, with Infinity as a title sponsor making a comeback. A beautiful livery, absolute worldy with the blue and the purple, and I think this is my favourite looking car on the grid. And that brings us to VCarb. Also big changes on the livery front, Orlen making a return, the red being more distributed elsewhere around the car, also Sky light blue making a bit of an appearance on the kind of side of the nose there, and generally a very nicely structured livery, a lot more blue on the car as well. And you can see the new race suits also powered by Ford as their power unit supplier. Daniel Ricciardo, turbo chair back once again, as we now go to the big one. Audi Sport back in Formula 1, of course, replacing Stake. Driver lineup unchanged. Valtteri Bottas and Zhou Guanyu, the big surprise to me, they've kept their lineup. However, you can see the new decoration, the new paint job looking incredible. The black, the red, the chrome. It's a very nice livery and you can't go wrong. And then we finally go to DHL Haas, also bringing in a new sponsor and a new kind of presentation, also Deutsche Post as well, kind of feeding into that yellow theme, that kind of Jordan vibes, you know, from the 2000s, and generally a very nice new presentation for the American outfit. So that's the whole grid, all the changes, everything looking epic, and I can't wait. I think it's going to be a really good season to close out this career mode series. So, as for Lewis's helmet, here we go. The purple is back. It's essentially a remake of his 2021 helmet, but I've gone a bit more hardcore with the purple. So there's no kind of, you know, dark grey or black bouncing off secondary highlights. We've gone for a two-tone purple with some white trim to really make those edges pop. Of course, we now have the 9 stars on the helmet, and we have replaced certain sponsors with, of course, OKX, McLaren's title sponsor. But not just that, there's a big one. As you can see, Monster returns to the helmet, and there may be some more changes to the sponsorship of McLaren and Lewis in the near future, depending on how things go. Also, special liveries could impact it. So watch this space, because the McLaren may still yet change. And that's kind of what I want to keep interesting throughout this season. So yeah, hopefully you guys enjoy the helmet, all the liveries, all the changes. I think it's going to be really, really sick. And just to cap it off, you can see in the background here, we have that new R&D scenario where Red Bull have to remove one of their upgrades heading into the opening race in Bahrain. So guys, it's going to be a lot of fun, and I can't wait to get stuck in. Like the video, subscribe. The first episode will likely drop on Thursday if all goes well, so Hopefully you tune in and enjoy the video, and I'll see you guys then. As always, a big shout out to the members for supporting the channel, supporting the videos and the content. Hopefully you guys look forward to it, and yeah, also check out the 2 videos on screen if you haven't seen them already, and I'll see you guys in Bahrain. See you soon.